the chief guest's address on creating a sustainable future for the society. It is our honor and privilege to welcome Dr. Dan Leclair, CEO GBSN, as the chief guest at the ECF to share his thoughts on how we can sustainably impact our economies, not just specific regions, but together collaborate towards making this planet a more sustainable and inclusive place to live in.
Introduction, I know now why my hair is so much more gray than it was in that picture. I appreciate it very much, and I want to start by saying that I'm particularly honored. I feel privileged to be here to address esteemed colleagues, distinguished participants, and I want to thank Woxsen University, especially Mr. Vin Hula and Dr. Raul Rodriguez for having me here. It's a wonderful opportunity for me, and I feel honored, and thank you, Shahad. My reward for being honored here is to have a very, very difficult topic to talk about. Creating a sustainable future for society. Read in my mind is how to save the world, and by the way, do it in less than 20 minutes program to go through, right? But how do we save the world in some sense is really what this is about. This is the urgency in which we tackle this subject. Now, I want to start, as I often do, with a question. This is a question that I used to ask my students when I was a professor, going back all the way to the 90s. I used to start my classes with this question. But then I continued to ask this question throughout my career as I worked with AACSB, whenever I'm in front of students, and through GBSN, whenever I'm in front of students, I like to ask this question. And the question is quite simple. Why does your business, your management education matter? It's a very simple question. Why does your management education, your development as a manager, why does it? Usually they're a little surprised in the beginning. They think, isn't it obvious why it matters? So I have to press them. And we have this dialogue, and it usually something like this. We start by them talking about what it means to them. They talk about access to jobs, their first job. They talk about their salary when they start the job. Particularly sophisticated students would say, look, it's not just the job, but it's career. My management education helps me to navigate my career as we go forward. But the conversation usually begins there, what it means to them. But then I press them a little bit. And I ask, well, what about companies? What does your management education mean to companies and other organizations? And we have this conversation. We talk about what it means in terms of profits, potentially. This conversation about growth. We talk about even things like retaining and their happiness. And we talk about how important good management is for that. So we move from what it means to them as individuals to what it means to them as organizations. But I keep pressing. I said, but what does it mean to society? What does your education mean to society? What does it mean to India? And I have to press a little harder there. In fact, after some pressing, usually we arrive at the conclusion that their management education matters to society. It improves the organization's decisions and their outcomes, and that translates into a better, more prosperous society. We usually get there in theory. And that matters, doesn't it? In fact, I wrote down, I want to tell you, after all this nudging, where we go with this. If you look at the Woxsen University, vision statement, it's to build an institution of excellence in higher learning, led through disruption. It's to develop a multicultural yet inclusive cohort of global professionals, and it ends by saying to contribute towards societal welfare. The reason why Woxsen University exists is because of what management education means to society. And why we exist as an organization. The Global Business School Network is built on the belief that management skills for a society, better managers, translates into better organizations, which translates into better societies. That's why we exist. That's how important this is. That question about why management education is a starting point for this discussion. But that's in theory, isn't it? Is that what really happens? We have this discussion with students. There are people who believe that more a part than a part. Yeah, I'm not sure you can hear me. It's going up, on and off, but I hope you can hear that. Business schools are part of the problem, or are they part of the solution? We have this discussion. We have this discussion about how higher education needs to change. And if you think about the Woxsen mission, the Woxsen mission, it begins with to innovate, form conventional education processes. So when you think about an institution like Woxsen University, and the idea that they transform the way we do higher education, for what purpose? And that purpose is to drive management skills, to drive education in a way that makes a difference in society. That's what matters. We're not there yet. We have to work hard to transform ourselves. And that's what this forum is about, right? This Executive Council Forum is about this. I don't know the answers. That's what we're going to talk about today. But I do want to leave you with one thought. Just one thought. Whatever you come up with today, I believe it has to put people first. It has to put people first. Developing their talent, their knowledge, their skills, that is not... I mean, think about it. In India, 1.4 million people, soon to be 1.5 million people. By 2030, it'll be 1/6 of the world's population. Think about what it means to empower people to make a difference in society. And if you look at this question about from India to the world, that's what I think India brings to the world. The power of people. And that's the power of higher education, isn't it? To develop that. That is what we bring to the world from India. People. I congratulate Woxsen University and all the success so far. I think we have a lot of work left to do, and I encourage all of us to put our minds to it at this event, the Executive Council Forum. Thank you very much.